All right, folks, let's get started with introductions. Once again, welcome everyone to Virtual Agent Academy. So let me just kick off with our additional resources. As always, please take a look at our Virtual Agent NLU community forum. There you'll find all the latest guides, information, and as well as the ability to ask questions and give answers. You can visit the link there at bit.ly/VA NLUcom, community for short. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching. We have a whole playlist on the Virtual Agent Academy where you can find all the recordings of our previous Virtual Agent Academy. So yes, this is being recorded. And if you're watching and you like what you're seeing, go ahead and click that like or subscribe button down below. You get notified every time our recordings become available. Recording for this video should be available within the next couple days, certainly within the next week. With that, let's get started with today's topic. Today's a special topic. We're going to learn about a San Diego feature for NLU, and you're going to learn how to improve your NLU model performance with new feedback and testing tools. And here to present that is our returning champion, Nilima Desai. When it comes to all our or many of our Virtual Agent Academy NLU topics, it's Nilima on the forefront driving that. So kudos and much gratitude to her. I'm going to turn it over to her now to go over our agenda and our new topic. Nilima, take it away.
Thank you, Victor. Let me go ahead and share my screen and welcome everyone to this session of NLU tuning and the new features that are available in San Diego. So we'll go over a quick overview for our goals for today and the topics that we will cover, followed by an exercise where we will do a hands-on demo on the features we are covering, and followed by a Q&A session. Please feel free to post your questions in the chat, and there will be folks that will be answering them as we go. So starting with San Diego, we have introduced the expert feedback loop. Expert feedback loop is basically, it uses your chat log which is, when we say chat log, we mean the OpenNLU predict intent feedback table. And it uses the chat log to extract a subset of the chat in data that is available in the logs. That represents your model, adequately for each intent. And it provides an opportunity for your experts, your domain experts, your NLU admin, to then go in and label that data to provide feedback to the model back in terms of, whether the predictions are correct, incorrect, or it shouldn't be predicting anything. And we will go over the demo. But the good thing about expert feedback loop is, it you don't have to go through a whole big set of data. You can look at the extracted data that the system provides using expert feedback loop and then label that data. This chat log data obviously is, typically available in the production, right, where users are requesting things. There are a few ways to go about it. Typically we would not, tune the model directly in production. You may want to try it out in a subprod environment. So you can basically, export XML for that table into your subprod and then do the tuning there. And then once you're comfortable, you can move the changes to production, right? The system expects a default of a minimum of at least 300. So this basically the expert feedback loop runs periodically, incrementally. So, the system default is 300 chat log samples for the expert feedback loop to contain data to label. And then once you have labeled 100 samples at least, then the tuning opportunity is available. And these are system properties, so you can adjust them based on your need. This is a screenshot of expert feedback loop, and we will go over the demo portion of it, but basically, whichever models are available for expert feedback loop, those will be available in the top drop down, and then the intents are listed over here and on the left bar, and then you can click on each intent to do the tuning and labeling. Okay. And in San Diego, we also have the test panel feedback feature where you can use the try model button within NLU Workbench manage model phase to provide feedback to the system back based on the predictions that NLU is providing, whether those predictions are correct or they are incorrect. If you don't agree with them, then the system will allow you to either pick a different pick a different intent, or if you think it goes to no prediction, then you can select that as well. And then once you train the model, then that information is used to tune the model further. And the system would expect quite a few samples to be provided, the feedback to be provided, and then train for there to be a change in the model performance. Okay. Some of the other enhancements for NLU and San Diego release that you can be aware of, expert feedback loop and test panel feedback we are covering in this session. With model creation, we have also introduced importing from CSV. And in fact, the model that I will be, demoing in the demo, this is what we used. And then you can also export NLU models to CSV, which is also a very handy feature. In San Diego, we also introduced adding NLU models to update sets right from the SysNLU model record, from the model table record, it's a related UI action on the form. And in San Diego, we now have the phased model building approach, which means that you have different. It has separated the process, making it a little bit more intuitive. Where when you're creating the model, you go into manage model, and we'll go over it during the demo as well. You go into manage model, and then the testing phase, and followed by the publishing phase. San Diego Workbench also has the resolve intent issues feature, which is pretty handy. While you're building your model, if the system finds that there is a conflict in your intents, it gives you that feedback right away in Workbench, and there you can resolve those conflicts within Workbench itself. So now coming to the exercise part. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Victor. Okay, so here I just came to the instance, and I'm in Workbench right now. And as we can see, some of the features I talked about are here using import data from CSV, and this is the model that we will be working on today. It's an English only model, and we'll just look at the intents quickly so we are familiar with what the model contains. It's a combination of HR and IT related requests. As we see, there is PowerPoint template and Okta reset, is part of ITSM. And then we have some HR related ones as well, like compliance policy and trading window info, etc. And then there is also some setup topics. So it's a combined model. Okay, so now on the other tab, I have this model is already created, trained, and published on my instance. And I ran one batch test against the model. And so it's basically, currently it's predicting at 89.79% with about 23 or so incorrect predictions. And the threshold is 60 set to 60%. So that's what we are seeing on the right side. But for the purpose of this demo, we will focus on the model performance on the left over here, right? And how we can use expert feedback loop to improve the model performance. So now coming back to expert feedback loop, I will go ahead and open the module. So in this case, in this instance, I have enough data that the system, was able to extract from the chat logs. So we are seeing there are about 70 to 79 samples per intent in the model that are available for labeling. And, like I said before, you don't need to do all of them. But there is at least, you need to make sure you're covering enough samples within each intent. Out of the box, we need 100 labels. Obviously, for this demo, we will not do 100. But if, we have 11 intents, and then, you want to make sure you have labeled each of these intents, proportionately when you're doing the labeling. For the purpose of this demo, we will just go ahead and do a few and then see how it changes the model performance. Right. So here in this instance, I have only one model that has expert feedback loop data. So that's all we see. Otherwise, if you had multiple models that have labeling opportunity for expert feedback loop, you would see that in the dropdown. And then, you can click on each of these intents to see what the samples for labeling that are available. I'll go ahead and start with admin access. And for the purpose of this demo, I'm focusing on some samples that are not just incorrectly predicting, as we can see over here, but there were some samples that I saw that should have not made any predictions, so I'll go ahead and label those for this demo, and then we can tune the model after the labeling and see what the difference is. So here I had seen there is a MFA reset issue that in this case, this is Okta related. So I'll go ahead and label it as Okta. And I'll go ahead and save my feedback. So coming into compliance policy, for compliance policy, I saw there were some samples around PowerPoint. So this is a sample PPT deck, but I do have a PowerPoint template intent, but as we can see, there's not enough information in this sample that it should go to PowerPoint template. I would expect this to go to search fallback because of no context, So I'll go ahead and say mismatch. This does not belong to compliance policy, and I will mark it as not relevant to any intent. And if I try to go out of this intent, the system will alert me, and I do need to save all the feedback before I go to the next intent. Now, in the case that you're not sure about some samples, right? Like, for example, maybe Bank Financial Corporation, what the prediction should be. You can mark it as unsure, and what the system will do is, it will place it in needs further review after this is saved. So now I have one done for this sample, and another one is needs further review, which is what I just labeled. Coming into one more sample, let's do from this intent. I did see there was a PR. Yeah, so this one again is not relevant to any of the intents. So I'll mark it as not relevant, and I will save. Next, let's try Okta reset. Okta reset is here. For Okta reset, there were some predictions for the word university. I guess not. Let me try. I thought there was something about sales request. Yeah, so sales request, this has nothing to do with Okta reset. So I will go ahead. And again, there is not enough context in this sample either. So I will go ahead and mark it as not relevant. And I saw something compliance related as well. Yes. So this one again is a mismatch, but there's not really anything about policy, it's just the word compliance, so I would not want to direct this one to compliance policy, instead I'm going to mark it as irrelevant, and I will save the form and save the page. Let's do one more, and then I can go ahead and tune the model. I'll try trading window. Trading window, I thought I had. Okay, I'm right. Yeah, so here there was something on SSO issues. This one is a mismatch, and I can mark it as Okta reset as the correct intent. And I thought there was one more. PowerPoint. Yeah, there was one on PowerPoint. Okay, so this one, I'll go back to do. Yeah. So this one obviously goes to PowerPoint template. So I will mark that as the intent. And I'll go ahead and save my page and do one more purchase requisition. Okay. So this one, again, it's not a relevant intent, and I'm going to mark it as such. And then one more on tuition. There was one more on PowerPoint, unless I already did that, but no. Okay. Okay. So now I think, yeah, and so I do need to do 10 anyways. So I'm not at 10 yet. This instance is set to do 10. Let's see, who are you? Okay. This one I'll mark as also not relevant. And I'll save the page. This is obviously a not correct intent. Access space slip. I don't think I have any available intent. I will mark this as not relevant. Can I trade my stock? Should be trading window. Okay, now action. This is very strange. I don't know why it is expecting. I know in this instance it was set to 100. I'm sorry, set to 10. So let's see if I can remember this property. Okay, maybe I missed something I missed. Hold on. Yeah, so this is a good exercise for us to cover.
Did you want the Workbench Glide optimize min? Was that the one you're looking for?
Optimize, yes. This one, let's see, is it?
I'm going to paste it in chat.
Okay.
This one?
Let me see. I think so. Yes, thank you, Victor.
No worries.
Okay, come back to our system property. I had to switch instances in the last minute. I was doing, okay, there. This is 100. So I will switch it to 10. And I will say ignore cache and save the form. Okay, so now once I reload the page, I would expect enhance test set to be available. So I'll go ahead and select my test set. So at this point, we had already labeled 10 samples. So, and we changed the system properties. So that's good. We got to see that also in the demo. And I'll go ahead and submit the labeling for optimize. So while this is running, I will not be able to go to Workbench to show the test panel feedback. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and use this other instance that I have and open NLU, and we can review the test panel feedback feature and then come back and see the model performance from expert feedback loop. So I have the same model on this instance as well, with the same set of intents, etc. And we can use the try model feature to provide feedback. So I'll go ahead and maybe pick on the first intent over here, new logo. And let's see what it is predicting. And it predicted with 90%. So that's great. I will give feedback that this is the correct prediction. Then let's do just a sample PowerPoint. And it matched PowerPoint template with 100% confidence because of the word PowerPoint. Now, like we were seeing before, right? Just the word PowerPoint, I don't want it to go to this intent. It should be, if it is a template related intent, right? So I'll go ahead and say, this is not the right prediction, no intents, save changes. So once I do enough of these, then, it will go, it will tune the model accordingly. Let's do one more, purchase requisition we can pick on. Okay, so here this already predicted purchase requisition, right? So that is good. It picked up on the word rec. I didn't say requisition, and I don't have any vocabulary set up, but the system did pick it up, so which is good. So that's basically the try model feature. And one more thing, like if it predicted wrong, I could have also, let's do that now, mobile app. So it looks like it is predicting now mobile app, but let's say it did not predict now mobile app. I could have, said this is the correct prediction is now mobile app in this case, but it did predict now mobile app. So obviously it's not showing up in the list over here. So that's the try model feature with feedback. And here, once you have done enough samples testing and provided the feedback, when you train the model and then retest it using batch testing, you should see a change in the performance. Coming to, oh, wow, okay, nice. Everything was working fine. Okay, so I guess there is an error that is coming up. Let me see if I can show the feedback that we did on this instance. So I hope that will be available. Okay, so here on this instance, I had done a dry run right before the demo, and this is already published and available. It's basically the sampling was almost the same. I did a little fewer samples in this instance than what was done on the other instance. So here, so this is what the UI would look like after the expert feedback loop, model tuning completes. So as we saw when we started, right, the model was performing at 90.64 accuracy with about 21 incorrect. And the labeling that we did, the system picked up, fewer incorrects based on the feedback that was provided. And then, basically once the publish optimize model dialog is available, you will be able to publish the model over here. So with that, we will conclude the demo part of the session. And I think we have a few questions also, right? And we are almost up for time anyways. So
yeah, so let's go ahead and get to the questions. Nilima, there's a great list of questions, and I want to make sure we read these to be captured on audio. Okay. First question is, do you have any recommendations? Should customers do this in production or sub-prod, and are there pros and cons to each?
Correct. Thank you. That's a great question. And absolutely, we would recommend, tuning the model in subprod first to see, what the impact is. You could do it even in production because as we saw, right, it doesn't automatically publish the model straight away, and you can, choose not to publish it. So that is an option. But the platform allows like different options for doing the tuning in subprod environment, so like I had mentioned, like we can export XML of the data that you want to use in subprod. So you can take that data from the table from your production instance, bring it over using import XML into your subprod instance, and then do the tuning over there. And once the tuning is done, then you can move your model via update sets, to production. You do have the option to do it directly in production as well. I mean, it's not, if the results are not what they need to be, you just won't publish the model, right? And the way the tuning optimization works is, it takes into effect only until the model is published. So once you make any change to your model, in the train samples as well, for example, right, you do need to, then test and tune, do the batch testing and publishing again, right? So to the question, it just depends on what the preference is. But even if you were to do it in production, it's not going to, hurt, it's not a big impact as long as you don't publish it if it is not giving you the desired results. But ideally, you want to perform these steps in sub-production first.
Yeah, and that's a great call out to leverage the new capability to upload via CSV into the NLU workbench. So that one's a new capability for San Diego. Mm-hmm. So a little bit more on this new NLU editor role, because again, I think this is one of the first opportunities to introduce that role. Mm-hmm. And what is required. Let's say if you want to bring in a subject matter expert to help with the expert feedback loop. Do you recommend they have the admin role or just the editor role to go ahead and label or categorize what should be in the model?
Yeah, it all depends on what the expertise is on the person that would be labeling. Ideally, if they're not familiar with Workbench, then, they could be assigned just the NLU editor role, and then, they can do the labeling, and then the actual NLU admin can take care of, publishing the model and all of that. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and last question is, are these capabilities available for other languages? And the ones mentioned are Brazilian, Portuguese, Spanish, English. Where do we stand with that?
That is something, as far as I know, they are available, but we can circle back and confirm and then, confirm that they are available for other languages. As far as I know, it is available for all the supported languages, but let's wait to confirm it.
Great, and we'll post that to the community. And just a final note or a call out there. So for folks using Brazilian Portuguese, the recommendation today is to leverage the new Portuguese language available in the San Diego release. So that is guidance on if you want to leverage this for Portuguese, and we will follow up on the community on language support for some of the expert feedback loop and the testing feature leveraging continual learning.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And even for the previous question about editor versus admin, we will just make sure we confirm we have the right answer. But, admin role will definitely give full permission and, labeling should be available to editor role as well.
Great. Well, no further questions. So
Great.
thank you again, everyone.
Yes, and thank you everyone for attending our VA Academy. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. Be sure to fill out the poll if you haven't already. We just love to learn how you are all doing on your NLU and virtual agent journey. Seems like a majority of you are saying yes or plan to, which is great. Once again, NLU is a great way to personalize and make your virtual agent that much more intelligent. In terms of using our expert feedback loop, we understand that not many of you are using it, but hey, you just learned about it today in Academy, and that's the first step. So feel free to take a look. Again, the recording is going to go online in a few days after. And once again, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.